Get your illustrations to go from this to this. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 different techniques for applying texture to your illustrations. I'm Kelly, I'm a freelance motion designer and illustrator. Today I'm using Procreate, but the same principles apply for Photoshop. Let's dive in. Technique number 1, applying texture using brushes and clipping masks. To create a clipping mask in Procreate, create a new layer above your base layer. Tap on that layer and select Clipping Mask. Everything you create on this layer will only be seen in the confines of the base layer. Go ahead and choose your favorite texture brush. Right now, I'm using Bardot Speckle Brush from the Bardot Mid-Century Brush Pack. I'll drop a link in the description below. I recommend lowering the opacity of the brush to 50% or less, as it gives you more control to build up texture. If you apply too much texture and you want to tone it down, you can easily create a mask on the clipping mask and use the same brush to reduce the texture by painting in black on the mask. So white adds, black removes it. Working with a clipping mask is a great non-destructive way to play around with how much texture you want to apply, and allows you to reduce the opacity, change the blending mode or the color. Technique number 2, applying texture using a transparent background without a clipping mask. In this watermelon margarita illustration, I wanted to make a frosted cocktail glass without having the white color in the glass, just the darker texture on a transparent background. The trouble with using the clipping mask is that the main layer's opacity also controls the opacity of the clipped layer. So how do we get around this? So your first thought might be just use the selection tool, freehand draw the shape and then texture inside the selection. Totally works. Until you want to add more, and then you have no way of selecting exactly that shape again. So here's what we're going to do instead. I'm going to go into the base layer, in my case it's this white layer, then choose the selection tool and down at the bottom select automatic. Next, I'm going to invert that selection so it is selecting everything outside the white layer. After that, I'll select the textured layer and scribble 3 fingers on the canvas to erase anything in that selection. I can then go back and turn off the visibility of the white layer, and this will give me a textured layer without the white background. This technique also works great if you have multiple shapes on one layer and want to add texture one piece at a time. Technique number 3 is applying texture using a Procreate brush and the alpha lock. Alpha locks can be really useful if you're running out of layers or you just want a really quick texture. To use the alpha lock, either tap on the base layer and select alpha lock, or slide the layer to the right with 2 fingers. Now you can add texture directly on the base layer without painting outside the color block. The downside to using this technique is that you can't adjust the opacity, the color, the blending mode once the texture has been applied to the base layer. And aside from Ctrl-Z, you just can't erase part of the texture. You'd have to fill the base layer in again and you'd have to start again. But the upside is that it saves on layers, especially if you've got an iPad that's running out of space. If you found this video helpful and you want more of this type of content, then smash that subscribe button and I'll see you soon.